Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Lauren and today we are going to be talking about all things literary, anything bookish, anything related to books and reading at all, because that is my favorite topic. So as it is so close to Mother's Day, I have decided that I'm going to talk about books that feature mothers in main roles. So there are a lot of books that have mothers in them, obviously, because a lot of people are mothers. But I wanted to look at books that specifically look at mothers in that role as a mother. So with the focus on her relationship with her children or the way that others perceive her as a mother. So the first book that I'm going to talk about is a bit of a cheat book for me because I haven't actually read it yet. It is called Where'd You Go, Bernadette by Maria Semple. And the reason I haven't read this one yet is because I actually picked this up today for my own mum for Mother's Day. So happy Mother's Day. Hopefully I will get a chance to read it because Mum and I often loan each other books that we finished reading. So I do hope to get to read it in the very near future. Otherwise I will pick up my own copy. So because I haven't read it, I can't really review it obviously, but it is about a mother and a daughter relationship. And from what I can tell, it's about the daughter finding out more about the mother that she maybe didn't know. It seems really, really interesting, and just a really good choice for a mother-daughter narrative. So I've seen it a lot on Instagram and YouTube and Goodreads and basically everywhere else that people are talking about books, and it seems to be well liked among people whose tastes that I trust in books. So I think it will be a really good choice. My second book that I'm going to talk about is The Peppered Moth by Margaret Drabble. You know what, I never see this book around on Instagram or anywhere else, and it's a shame because it's actually a really wonderful book. It follows 4 generations of the same family, of women in the same family, and it goes into genetics and how nature versus nurture can change a person and things like that. So it really delves deeply into the genetics of family and how that ties into who we are as people and what makes us who we are. So I would definitely recommend The Peppered Moth by Margaret Drabble. I think it needs more love than it's been getting, and I actually found this one in a secondhand bookstore years and years ago, so I think it's quite old at this point, but if you find it, definitely give it a read. It's really wonderful. Okay, my next book is one with a more problematic mother-daughter relationship, and that is White Oleander by Janet Fitch. This one is a pretty heavy read. It's definitely not a light and happy book. In this one, the main character has a very, very troubled relationship with her mother. Her mother definitely is a problematic character, and it really follows the main character's journey through foster care and her own personal journey into the forgiveness for her mother or not. It's up to her, and you really go through this intense emotional journey with her where she tries to discern who she is, who her mother is, and what role she should play in her life. So I would absolutely recommend White Oleander. It is a wonderful book. It's very deep, very moving, and absolutely worth a read. Okay, my next read is The Light Between Oceans by M.L. Stedman. So this is also a problematic mother-daughter relationship. This one is a really interesting premise. Basically, a woman finds a baby washed up on the shore, and you don't know at that point what's going to happen. But you see how the choices that were made that day have these enormous impacts, and it is quite convoluted. It goes into really grey areas of morality, and the whole time I was reading it, I really felt like I didn't know what the characters were going to do. And then I thought, oh my gosh, you know, I just felt like they were getting into more and more trouble. But then at the end, I think it all came good. I don't know. I can't really say much without giving it all away. This book is pretty popular at the moment. It seems like a lot of people are reading it, and I think that's for a good reason, because it is super interesting. I love the premise. It wasn't my favorite book ever, but I think it's absolutely worth a read. It's a nice, quick read as well. I didn't feel like I struggled with this one. But certainly if you come across this one, pick it up, give it a read, and see what all the fuss is about. So the next book I'm going to talk about is Big Little Lies by Liane Moriarty. So this book is really, really popular, and Liane Moriarty is a really popular author at the moment. She is writing prolifically, so many books coming out, and I love them. I think she's amazing. And of course, this book has also been turned into a television series, so it's very, very popular. But if you haven't already read it, I highly recommend reading it, or perhaps giving it to your mum if she's never read it, because speaking of mums, there are a lot of them in this book. In fact, it's really just about school mums. And I am also a mum myself, and my children are in primary school, so I really, really connected to that demographic. Like, that is me, that is my friends. So reading this book, I found it really fun to think about which character I connected with the most, which character I identified with, which character I could recognize in my friends. So that was super fun. The other thing that I love is that I actually bought this book at the Perth Writers Festival a few years ago, and I actually saw Liane Moriarty deliver a panel, and this was my first time seeing her or hearing about her or anything like that, and she was so lovely and warm and friendly. I just felt like we could be instant best friends. She is an absolute delight. I loved hearing her talk. I loved everything she said. So when she read the first few pages of her novel, I was instantly hooked. I ran out, bought this book, and she actually did sign it. I stood in the line and she signed it. So there we go. I feel like I met a celebrity. So not only do I love Liane, she's a wonderful person, but I love her writing. And so this book it's a bit of a mystery. So there's a bit of a mystery that happens, and the whole time I was wondering, you know, what happened? So right from the first page, you know that someone has died, but you don't know who, and you don't know the circumstances, which is revealed at the very end. So you kind of have that prolepsis where you see this happens, but then how do we get to that point? So really interesting. That makes it sound much more serious than it is. It's actually a very funny book. It's very bubbly. It's the characters are effervescent. They absolutely jump off the page at you. They seem real. They seem like people that you know. And that's something that I find really fun in a book, especially a contemporary novel. And this is the kind of book that is fantastic to read on the beach or snuggled up in bed or in the bath. It's just so fun and relaxing. She's got a very conversational style, and I found it very easy to absolutely get lost in this book. So if you haven't already read this one, I highly recommend checking it out and giving it a try. Okay, so the last book in the list is unfortunately not as funny. In fact, it's not funny. It's not funny at all. And that is We Need to Talk About Kevin by Lionel Shriver. So this is a very different type of mother and a very different type of family relationship. So I actually saw the movie adaptation of this book before I read it. So you know from the start how it ends. I mean, it says on the back of the book. the premise is that Kevin, who is the main character's teenage son, murders several of his classmates at school. So that's a really, unfortunately, political topic. It's a very contemporary topic, but it's an important topic to talk about. And I thought this book delivered such an interesting perspective from the mother's, giving the mother's point of view, telling the mother's story. And it goes all the way back to before Kevin is even conceived and her journey to become a mother and basically living with the aftermath. It's extremely moving. I found myself experiencing all kinds of emotions reading this. I was angry at times. I was horrified. I was sad. I mean, it's not a fun read, but it's a damn good read. I mean, Lionel Shriver is an amazing author. And I just found that it really gave me a different perspective into this really contemporary political issue that we are facing today, unfortunately, particularly in America, obviously. But just talking about the mother role, the main character here is a very different kind of mother. She isn't particularly maternal, and she really wonders whether she wants to be mother at all. And that goes all the way back to preconception and throughout Kevin's childhood, where he is a very difficult child. So if you haven't read this book and you feel like it could be something that you're interested in, I would definitely recommend it. It is challenging, but worthwhile. So I hope that has given you some ideas about books about motherhood, about mother-child relationships, and the various ways that mothers can and do exist in our society. So we've got some really different books here, really different mothers, but of course there are so many different kinds of mothers, there are so many different relationships. I mean, obviously every mother-child relationship is unique. So I really hope that has given you some book recommendations or ideas. And if you've read these books, let me know what you've thought. Let me know what you think, what you thought of them. I would love to hear it. And of course, please stay tuned. We will be talking about everything book related, everything literature related. So there will be more videos coming and we will talk about absolutely everything book related. So thanks for tuning in and I will see you next time.